Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy Flames Baseball Fury. Today we're talking opening day. That opening day action is right around the corner. I'm jacked. I know you're jacked. The baseball world's jacked, and there's a lot going on. Quickly, just to catch up with the news real fast. There's a report that the Cardinals and Molina are finalizing a 3-year deal that'll keep him in St. Louis for a little while longer. Adrian Beltre and Pujols among those eyeing big milestones in 2017. And Manfred talks Trump first pitch, Montreal, and much more on today's episode, Daddy. Jimmy Flames Baseball Fury, come up in here in a second. All right, and we're back. And in case you're wondering, yes, today is live, absolutely live. If you're catching this later, sorry about that. Well, we're trying some new technology out today, and I'm hoping this all works out well. If there's any glitches in the broadcast today, well, it's all on me. I'm trying out some new things here at Jimmy Flames Baseball Fury. And it's better to do it now in the preseason, right, than to make major screw-ups in the regular season. But more on that Molina deal with the St. Louis Cardinals. This is being reported by CBS Sports. He's Yadier Molina is apparently landing more than $55 million over the course of 3 years. That's just crazy money right there, ladies and gentlemen. Crazy, 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 crazy money. $55 million over the course of 3 years. The Cardinals and the catcher are reportedly finalizing this deal. The team has not yet confirmed, but I'm sure that's coming in pretty soon. Ken Rosenthal, he's on Twitter all the time. He's, pretty much when that guy reports something, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So Molina is staying with the Cardinals for at least the next 3 years, and those out in St. Louis are going to probably be happy about that. And I found this headline to be it was one of those headlines that grabbed me. It's over at CBS Sports as well. The commissioner of Major League Baseball talks about Trump throwing out the first pitch. He also addressed the Expos and a possible return to Montreal. He talked about Las Vegas, the World Baseball Classic, and his family. But I'm gonna stick to the Trump stuff and the Expos because for one, baseball should be in Montreal. Am I right? Baseball, professional baseball, Major League Baseball should be played in Montreal. It's such a good city for it. We've got the Toronto Blue Jays there already, but come on, man. Montreal's one of them classic teams. Everybody loved the logo, the hat, even if you weren't a fan. It was just cool stuff. But anyhow, it's being reported that the commissioner, Rob Manfred, made an appearance on Tiki and Tyranny at CBS Sports Radio, and addressed a number of baseball topics, and among them was the President Trump declining an invitation to throw out the first pitch for the Washington Nationals. Now, you can head over to CBS Sports and listen to that whole interview, but in short, the commissioner stated that he thinks it's important that Major League Baseball respects the office of the presidency and always welcome the president continuing the tradition of throwing out the first pitch. Now, this is, I believe, going back to Teddy Roosevelt, every president has thrown out the first pitch to start the season somewhere. Just recently it's been with the Washington Nationals, and of course, the Nationals are the former Expos. And there's some rumors floating around that maybe Trump just has a really poor throwing arm, and he can't throw. And the commissioner had this to say. He said, I can say two things with absolute certainty. I did have a chance to spend a little time with the then president-elect, and I can say with absolute certainty as well that he is a huge baseball fan, which is good. And secondly, he is very confident about his ability to deliver a first pitch. Well, Donald Trump's been pretty confident about a lot of things, and I don't know, things just haven't been going his way. I'm not going to get political on this show, so I'm avoiding that topic altogether. Nevertheless, he's not throwing out the first pitch, apparently. How do I feel about it? Well, if you must know, I don't have my beeper with me to cut out the explicit words I want to use here, but the president not throwing out the first pitch to start America's pastime, to start the season, is ridiculous. I know you're busy, but come on, man, get out there and throw a frickin' baseball. Who cares if you can't throw? There was also concern in the media about fans possibly, boycotting games or booing or whatever. Who cares? Get over it. But nevertheless, the commissioner summed it up by saying it's an important job. It's important in a job like this to never lose sight of the fact we put a product on the field in order to keep our fans and grow new fans. And you have to be willing to listen to people in order to achieve that really fundamental goal for Major League Baseball. If you try to listen to your fans, you usually are able to find the sweet spot between history and tradition on the one hand and the need for the game to evolve on the other. Now, I still don't quite know what to think about Donald Trump not throwing out the first pitch. Other than I don't know. I see. I said before that I'm trying not to be political in my show, but here I go. So I'm just going to avoid that topic altogether. Let's just go to the next bit. I'm trying to find where I just had it here, where he addresses Montreal, possible return to Montreal, and from what I've read so far, it doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. And of course, I lost the article, but nevertheless, we'll get to that later. But yeah, Donald Trump's not throwing out the first pitch for the Washington Nationals on opening day. I guess we're just going to have to get over it. Am I right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. Right now my pages have been conflated with the other show, The Art of Hitting Your Opponent with a Planet, my wrestling show. Check it out if you're into pro wrestling or if you're into wrestling, whatever. Especially the local sort of stuff. I generally touch on local wrestling. Head over to that podcast. It airs on Google Play Music, iTunes, all the major podcast apps, and soon on iHeartRadio like this show. This show is actually aired on iHeartRadio, and iHeartRadio is still advertising it as the Big Game James Show, and we're working on getting that changed. I've been working in the last 2 weeks trying to get it changed, but we're not necessarily a top priority at iHeartRadio, so just bear with us. It's going to be called the Big Game James Show on your app for a little while longer, but it's still on iHeartRadio, and that's the important thing. iHeartRadio has certainly been good to us, feeding us an enormous audience, and I appreciate everything that they've done. Now, I don't know how many of you guys out there have been following spring training. I've been following it a little bit here and there. And I came across a funny video of a Colorado-San Diego game where a swarm of bees apparently attacked players on the field. The game was one measly out away from ending the top of the ninth in a 10-4 game on Thursday, so it was pretty much over. And it was San Diego's final game of spring training at the Peoria Sports Complex. And it wouldn't have been surprising if a quickly moving getaway day was on the players' minds. But apparently these bees had other ideas. came out with 1 out left in the ninth and said, no, or something. I don't know. And they started swarming around players, and the video is really funny because everyone hits the deck. Everyone hits the ground like you're supposed to if a swarm of bees comes at you. Everyone dropped to their belly, and that was just a funny moment that I wanted to share with you guys. And but opening day, the spring training portion of our illustrious baseball season is coming to an end. Many teams are ending today, or are completing spring training today, and others still have a game left or two or whatever before heading back home and getting ready for the season for big week. Beginning April 3rd. April 3rd is opening day. It's perhaps my favorite day of the year. I'm pretty sure that many of you listeners out there, share that sentiment. Now, the fine folks over at the Cut 4 staff put out an article earlier this week, and it's all about the hashtag Caps On movement. And they've given us a few recommendations on how to dress on opening day. So there are two main things you should do, April 3rd. One of them is watch baseball all day. Just watch it all day. Everybody's playing. Watch baseball all day long. Go to a baseball game if you can. If you live near one of the cities, go to a baseball game if at all possible. And two, wear your ball cap to school, work, or wherever and share a photo of yourself with the hashtag CapsOn. That's hashtag CapsOn. Now, a few weeks ago, my Facebook followers were subject to a lambasting when I posted my own picture of me wearing my Baltimore Orioles hat with the hashtag CapsOn. And the point is like, for me, I ain't got to wait till April 3rd. I've rocked this thing year round. What you doing with your team? Baseball season's one thing, but my O's, that's 365, 24/7, baby. All year long. Now, moving along to opening day. There's a lot of matchups coming up. I'm trying to pull up my schedule here now. It's funny. Trying to pull up my schedule. Man, I got all this new software and everything's moving slow. Bear with me. So, on Sunday, we have 3 games. Yankees and Rays, Giants and D-backs, and the Cubs-Cardinals. Kicking it all off. But the actual opening day, some interesting matchups going on. Monday, April 3rd, Marlins Nationals, Braves Mets, Pirates Red Sox, Rockies Brewers, Blue Jays O's. My O's, baby. Tigers at White Sox, Royals and Twins, Phillies at Reds, Padres at Dodgers, Indians at Rangers, Mariners at Astros, and the Angels go to Oakland to take on the Athletics. That's opening day. Which leaves me wondering, why I just found it interesting. Like, why would Major League Baseball schedule Sunday games and then have the teams playing on Sunday skip and play Tuesday? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, as I tend to do from time to time. But that's your opening day schedule. The most interesting matchup I see is Estrada and Gausman. The Blue Jays-Orioles game. And then also, if you look at the Tigers and White Sox, the pitching matchup is Verlander and Quintana. Those are going to be some good pitching matchups, some good strong pitching matchups. Go down to the Seattle Mariners versus the Houston Astros, Why can't I talk today? The Mariners versus the Astros, and you got Hernandez and Keuchel. Man, just the entire starting pitching on opening day, as usual, is just dynamite. So I wouldn't expect a lot of runs on April the 3rd, because I'm looking here at all the pitching matchups, and it's just like these are all-star pitching matchups. Kluber v. Darvish, Duffy and Santana, Verlander and Quintana, like I said before, Volquez and Strasburg, Tehran and Syndergaard. I mean, it's Cole versus Porcello. I mean, Porcello, by the way, made me a ton of points on fantasy baseball 2 years ago. He was a little overlooked, put it that way, but I ended up snatching him like at the very end of the draft, and he ended up just, I raked in a lot of points with that guy. But anyhow, we're actually gonna have, speaking of fantasy baseball, we're gonna do a fantasy baseball episode coming up real soon. The draft that I'm in is coming up, I believe, tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, I believe tomorrow. So I'll reveal my draft picks, and you guys can tell me about yours if you want. Head on over to Facebook, JimmyFlame77. Tell me what's going on. Who you got? I'll let you know who I got. That's for darn sure. Now, back to the pitching matchups. I found a few pitching matchups that were interesting, of course. But one that sticks out is in the Minnesota Twins organization. Kyle Gibson is taken to the mound against the Rochester Red Wings. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Kyle Gibson, he's really good. I'm sorry for lack of better terms. But this is one of those matches that pairs minor league teams with major league teams before the start of the season. I think these kinds of matchups are great because it gives exposure to the minor league teams. I used to work in minor league baseball, and I'm telling you right now, the only reason most of these guys are not playing on a major league team is because there's not enough spots in Major League Baseball. Expanding, here's a little hint right here. Expanding into Montreal, again, would be good for baseball. Get some of these minor league players on a team. Come on, man. Especially at the AAA level. It's funny, I was working college baseball and AAA baseball at the same time one season. And the difference, just in hitting and pitching for that matter, but the difference in power and speed was just night and day. It's funny, like in college baseball, like for instance, in college baseball, if a player hits a pop-up, it's kind of like, it doesn't look odd at all. But then if you go directly from a college baseball game to a AAA game, and routine pop-ups, every single one of them look like they could be a home run until your eyes adjust. You know what I mean? Until you sort of get used to it again. And to see the minor leaguers, the AAA teams take on major league talent, seeing that is the best way you can compare. There's really nothing to compare because these are equivalent. The talent level is equivalent. It's crazy, like how narrow. The things you got to do to make the jump from minor league ball to Major League Baseball to playing full time for a major league team. It's not talent, it's perhaps in drawing favors from someone. Now, I'm not accusing anyone of that stuff, but there's got to be a little bit of that involved. Like, there's got to be some favorability, that's got to be one of the things. Because, I mean, when you go out and see these players play and the pitchers pitch, that's what they do, There's there's no gray line. I mean, the only line there is that can be discerned, rather, is the uniform. And I personally think minor league uniforms tend to look, a little more gregarious, a little more fun than the stoic major league uniforms. But there's not much of a difference in product. But the jump from college to minor league, the speed difference, the power difference, even the coaching, like seeing how players are moved and repositioned where they get to is just phenomenally different. It's crazy different. I used to cover Tulane baseball. I was a board op producer for WRBH down in New Orleans, Louisiana, and produced the Tulane baseball games. And on occasion, when we weren't airing, once in a while, when we weren't airing a game, I would go down to the stadium and watch the game, and then head directly over to Zephyr Field to see the newly named New Orleans Baby Cakes, take on whoever. And just it was like night and day. But it was like heaven as well. I got to hang around baseball all the time and get paid for it. It was fantastic. But, opening day is coming up. I'm getting hyped. I'll have a lot more to talk about once the season gets going. For now, it's all about preseason. Preseason wrapping up, of course, down in Arizona and Florida, the Grapefruit League and the Cactus League and all that fun stuff. A lot of matchups coming up. This is the end of preseason, so there's a lot of matchups between, your AAA teams, your AA teams, and versus your major league teams. If you're in Arizona or Florida, be sure to go check that stuff out, because these are very competitive matchups. In a way, like a lot of the minor league guys, some of them might have chips on their shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, they know they should be on the major league team, but there's just not enough room. So it's like, these guys really show up and play. They're really competitive contests. There's not a whole lot on the line, but these guys are competitive. The major league players are playing a bit for pride. Of course, they don't want to be beat by a minor league team. But the matchups are always fun. Always fun. If you get a chance to do that, be sure to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up Jimmy Flame's Baseball Fury for the day. Be sure to check us out. iTunes, the Stitcher app, Google Play, Music, all that stuff, especially iHeartRadio. Shout out to iHeartRadio. We still own iHeartRadio, baby. Really excited about that. Yeah. But until next time, this is Jimmy Flame signing off, and don't forget, it's still called the Big Game James Show on iHeartRadio, but that is being fixed. Until next time, baby, I'm out.